Do you ever feel like you don't have enough storage space? Well, today I'm going to show you how I built a cabinet that lets you fit 15 or even 20 feet of cabinetry on 9 feet of wall space. Welcome to Hacksman, y'all. I found an amazing storage system online that will hold all of my stuff. But the problem is, it costs between $5,000 and $7,000. It's an amazing system if you can swing it, but I'm going to build my version for a fraction of that cost. The inspiration cabinet uses a pallet rack for the frame. But by the time I order a pallet rack and get it shipped to my house, I'm over $1,000. So I'm going to be using 4x4s, and I paid $60 for 4 of them. I'm marking out for a dado cut on these 4x4s for a lap joint. I just bought this radial arm saw for $100 off of Facebook Marketplace. It's in pristine condition. I wanted to use it as a dedicated dado saw, and I'll show you why they quit selling these to consumers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right now I'm trying to figure out, do I let go of the saw? Do I let go of the 4x4? I chose the 4x4 because there's no trigger on this. You have to flip the switch above you, so your hand's got to come off of something. Yeah. I guess that's why they're dangerous. After a brief underwear check, I was good to go to finish these dado cuts. However, I did a shallow pass first and then went back and did a second cut for the full depth. I can tell you that for over 20 years, I have used pretty much every woodworking tool, every construction tool there is, like every day, thousands of times. Nothing gives you the pucker factor like a radial arm saw. That thing is nuts. Next, I cut some 2x4s down to the full width of how big I want this cabinet to be. I'm going with 3 feet, but you could make it 3 feet, 4 feet, any size in between. I'm gonna put these 2x4s across here, and look, we're not building fine furniture here, okay? It's a storage cabinet. I can screw these down, but let's get a little bit of Forstner bit action going on. Picked up these lag screws this morning. Hold on a second, hold on. Okay, I say this in several of my videos, but you know, not everybody understands it. Your screw has an inner diameter and an outer diameter. This is the inner diameter. You want to match your drill bit up to that size, or you could go slightly smaller, and that way just your threads will grab the wood, and you won't be, you know, breaking off screws or having a really hard time driving it.
I could never focus.
Oh my God, I know, with you always have that problem.
Oh, shit.
Sometimes I can't focus either. I want to get this really get the glue on there good for strength. That wasn't the glue bottle, by the way.
I really thought it was, and I was like, oh my gosh, she just did that for real.
Washer, lag screw. All right, I gotta build one more of these. Okay, with the 2 supports built, I'm gonna paint them black. I'm using, I think this is made by Benjamin Moore, Coronado Multiply. It's Multiply paint. It used to be called Rust Scat, and the reason I love this is because you can paint it over wood, you can paint it over metal. It's specially formulated for that. So I spent weeks trying to figure out how a guy like me, who cannot weld, could build this system and make it work just like the one that you can buy. Because the problem is, I can only figure out how to make the cabinets pull out like a pantry, where I would have to put a pantry slide in here for each individual cabinet. But I wanted it to work just like the one you can buy, where they slide side to side and you walk in them like a hallway. Not only was it going to cost a lot to make them roll out because I'd have to use pantry slides for each one, but I would also need 3 feet of space in front of each cabinet at all times so that I could access it. Now, the other option would be to use casters. But the problem with casters is when they sit down on the ground and you're moving in one direction, they move linearly. But then whenever you go back, they swing around. And that means that the cabinet would do that every time that I wanted to spin it around. I didn't want to do that. Plus, I'd also have this really tall cabinet that had a lot of weight in it, and I just felt like it would be really tipsy. So finally, one night on my 575,000 search, I found it. To explain how I'm gonna make this work, I need to go back 1 week into the past. Hey, I'm Last Week Adam, and this is Strut Channel. Now, if you're an electrician or a plumber or work in HVAC, you're probably familiar with this. But if you don't, you're wondering, what is Strut Channel? It provides a mounting solution for things like ductwork, for HVAC or conduit, things like that. But it's also used in factories where they mount it overhead to move heavy objects from one end of the factory to another. And the way they do that is by using this. This is a trolley. Take the strut channel, mount it overhead, trolley slides inside the strut channel, and just like that, you've got a way to move things. This particular trolley is rated for between 300 and 600 pounds. The rating actually changes depending on how fast you roll it. Obviously, I'm not going to be rolling it far or fast. The strut channel is rated for 3,000 pounds. Now for this build, I'm going to be using 2 strut channels. So I'm good for 6,000 pounds, and I'm going to have 4 trolleys on each cabinet. So there is no way that weight is going to be an issue. You can buy this at Lowe's or Home Depot. Do make sure you get the 12 gauge channel though, so that it can carry that weight. One of the best things about strut channel is it requires 0 welding. It's like a giant erector set for adults. You have these clamps that fit around the channel, and then you bolt those clamps to whatever structure is going to be carrying the weight of this, whether that's the ceiling or a pallet rack system. Not only is this the perfect solution to my problem, but it also costs less than using a bunch of heavy-duty slides. Okay, back to you, Adam. You're the man. No, you're the man.
No, you are.
Nah, I love you, bro. With the slide situation resolved, I just had to figure out how I'm gonna support everything. So I could take a couple of 2x10s on each side, and I could sister, sandwich, scab, whatever you want to call it, them together, and that would be strong enough, I'm pretty sure, for 9 feet to carry that weight. And then I could use the aforementioned hangers like I talked about. But to prevent any sag whatsoever, I'm gonna do a teensy weensy bit of welding. I'm using 2x6 tubing because I want this to be super strong, and we're gonna weld it because basically if I use the brackets to hang it, then I'm gonna lose even more space, or by welding it, everything's gonna be nice and secure, and I'm not gonna lose a couple inches of height by doing that. And my friend Travis has volunteered to teach an idiot how to weld today, so.
Yeah, we're good at that.
I forget exactly what Travis was saying here. Something about smiley faces and mustaches.
All right. Excellent for your first time.
Oh,
That's very
good
nice.
shot of that.
I didn't think about this until just now. Should we weld these like this so it caps the 4x4?
Well, that's what's funny, because I was thinking we were going to cut them. And then I thought, oh, I guess you could just like wrap
That's
it.
exactly what I was thinking. I was going to cut the side out of this so that it was a strap saddle.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking originally, but yeah.
And then holes, or we could just do it like this, and you can,
better.
yeah, and then it can't go anywhere. You can put any kind of wood screw or anything in the side.
That's way more gooder.
Cool.
But we have a bit of a boo-boo. It's totally Travis's fault, I think. Because we did these saddles were originally gonna go just up and down like this, and we enclosed it. So now I cannot get the trolley. There's no way to get the trolley in there. So we're just gonna cut part of this lip off, and that way I can feed the trolley in, and then the other end, it should be good. How did you let that happen? When I got the beams home, I cleaned them off and painted them with the same paint that I had used on the 4x4s earlier. While the beams are drying, I can go ahead and start setting the frame of this cabinet. These are generally used for attaching a pergola to like a concrete base, but they're going to work perfect for this. I decided it might be prudent to go ahead and use my vacuum cleaner to suck up this dust. Very good. I use the top beam to help place the bases in the correct spots. The frames were slightly out of plumb, so I just dropped some washers down on one side to lift them up and get them plumb. That'll do. That'll do, pig.
Be careful. Oh my gosh, I'll be careful.
Yeah, we'll fix that later. Clearly, a two-man job.
Can we help you?
No,
Okay.
I'd rather suffer through it. Get on there. Okay. All right, that one's on. We'll transfer over. I'm not gonna lie. That actually went better than I was afraid it might go. Oh, I put it on there backwards.
No, you did not. Shut
No, I
up.
did not.
Oh my gosh.
Not bad at all. It's good and sturdy now. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere, but just to be on the safe side, I went and installed some timber screws. Look at them bad boys, okay? I put one up here, and then I put actually a smaller one down here because I don't think that one's quite as important as the one up top. And down here, to keep this thing from coming out like this, I've got that screwed to the bottom. So that should hold it. But if at any time I feel like I need something more, I can go ahead and put a 2x4 back here and add some extra support. To build the boxes, I'm using 3/4 inch sheets of Radiata pine plywood. These were cheaper. These were only about 50 bucks a sheet. I really need a bigger table saw. If anybody at SawStop is watching this, call me. All the sides are cut out there. All the shelves are right there. It's pocket hole time. Actually, let's not pocket hole. Let's route. I'm rabbiting the tops and sides of the plywood boxes because it was faster to use the router than to set up a dado blade on my table saw. Now we can drill pocket holes. Lots and lots of pocket holes. You could rabbet the top and bottom and center shelf into the cabinet for extra strength, but I'm just going to glue it and put tons of screws in it, and I'm confident that this will hold. You could also put edge banding veneer on here, but again, I just didn't want to take the time because it's just a storage cabinet. I'm just adding 1.5 inch pieces under the top, bottom, and center shelf to add some rigidity. Now I'm just drilling the holes for my adjustable shelves. All right, that is my 5 boxes built. Oh, let's cut some backs out. As you can see here, I've got 4 that are 12 inches deep, and I've got 1 that's 16 inches deep. That's because these are all going to be for something different. Obviously, this is for deeper stuff to sit on, but I'm going to have some of these where I can hang my clamps in them. Some of them are for like lawn tools. I've got kind of a cool surprise I'm going to do in one of them. For the cabinet backs, I used 5th inch underlayment because it was $10 cheaper per sheet than regular 1/4 inch plywood. Just another way of saving money, and it looked really good and was really nice and smooth. With the boxes built, I just went back and filled all the holes with some Bondo. So as you can see, this trolley doesn't hang down very far, and that doesn't leave me a whole lot of room up here to attach this to the wood cabinet. So just about guaranteed it would tear through. So I picked up these aluminum plates on Amazon, and that way I can attach the trolley to the aluminum plate, and then I can attach the wood cabinet to the aluminum plate as well, and it'll give me a lot more room. I can have a lot more wood at the top, and I'll get a lot of pressure on it, clamping pressure on the aluminum plate. Now that I got the first one marked off, I can go ahead and use that as my template to mark all the rest. Marking for the holes on the cabinets was easy. I just used the aluminum plates and literally just drilled them exactly where they would go. I did put a 2x4 on the outside to prevent any tear out. To attach the plates, I'm going to be using 1 inch by, I think these are 1.25 inch bolts. So I'm going to lift it up, and then you're going to shove the bolt through, and then hopefully through that hole in there too. Teamwork makes the dream work, and I gotta say, this went way easier than I could have dreamed it going. I really thought I was gonna run into some problems. And here's my little surprise I was saving. In case you hadn't noticed, I really like bright colors. This is how you fit 10 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound sack. I've got like all my safety gear up here, first aid kit, my gloves, earring protection, eye protection, tape. I've got other gloves down here. Listen, I'm gonna have to reorganize this again later probably, but for now I can just start putting stuff in here. I can finally keep all my paint together. I've got like 5,000 rollers because I can never find a roller, so I just go buy a new one every time. I've got all my plumbing stuff here. I've got my concrete work stuff down there, all of my sandpaper. Let's see what's in the next one. Ooh, these are basically still empty. Nothing in here. This one I will eventually hang all of my clamps on. For now, I've just got my tool belt on here. And in here, obviously, all of my outside yard tools. I saved $5,000 by building the ultimate storage cabinet myself, but I saved thousands more on this entire garage transformation. Watch this video right here and I'll show you how I did that and how you can too. You don't want to miss it.